This has to be the dumbest mayor on planet Earth. This video is brought to you by the Officer Tatum Store. The Officer Tatum Store, y'all know the drill. Let's get into this. So the mayor of Brooklyn Center in Minneapolis is the dumbest person on planet Earth. When your mayor wears a hat that really don't fit his head, he ain't got a haircut, no lineup, no nothing. He walking around talking and saying, every time a word come out of his mouth. Look how disheveled he look with his flag hanging off the side. This mother is not a mayor. He's an idiot. How did he win election? Y'all got to be, Brooklyn Center, y'all have to be smoking crack to get somebody like this in a mayoral position. This guy is incompetent. Now, I can't find the clip, but he said it because they drowned the clip out somewhere. This fool said he don't think it's necessary that police officers always have weapons during traffic stops. He said it. He said it. Now, I find a clip, I'll put it in the description section. He said he don't see why police officers would have weapons on every traffic stop. Before I get to his asinine comment, I want people to understand that the police chief resigned. I think the city manager, they fired him. The police chief resigned, and the officer that was involved in the shootings, Potts, I think her name, Officer Potts, Porter, I think her name may be Porter. She resigned as well. I don't understand why people do all this resigning stuff to a certain degree. She should have resigned. I think she's done being a police officer. She must be too stressed out. She got too much going on at home. She made a fatal mistake. She should never be a police officer again, unfortunately. She did. She maybe had great service for 20-some years, but when you make a mistake under a not even really a high-stress situation, I mean, it wasn't even a high-stress situation in my personal opinion. She wasn't even physically fighting with this guy. They were fighting with him, and she was assisting with a notepad in her hand, and she pulled the wrong weapon. I just still can't understand how she did that, but it happens. Her resignation seems to be reasonable. The police chief's resignation, he probably was voluntold, right? He probably didn't resign on his own. He like, you better get out of there or we're going to fire you and you won't get a pension. So he said, peace out. I'm resigning. But these people that resign like this, they are almost admitting to guilt here. The police chief did nothing wrong. The officer made an honest mistake. She should have been put on desk duty until the investigation was thoroughly finished. She had due process. And so did Dante Wright, but he decided he didn't want due process. He decided he wanted to do courtside process, curbside process. And what happened in curbside process? You lose your life. And so he didn't want to go to the criminal justice system to get due process. So Dante chose another route. This young lady deserves to have that. The police chief made a simple statement to say, look, it appears to be an accident. Obviously, she was yelling taser, taser, taser. That's burned into your brain in training when you're tasing somebody to yell taser, taser, taser. You don't do that if you have a gun in your hand. So whatever she was doing that day, I would love to know what happened. But this fool is nuts. Why do they hire people like this? And then you talk about racism. The city manager, I think the city manager or the director or whatever, I think he was black. This guy, the mayor of Brooklyn Center, is black. The officer that was involved that almost got shot by the female police officer, he was black. The police chief was white, but like, who's really the problem here? Is Brooklyn Center a racist department? Is it a racist city? When you got a black man that's the mayor, he runs the city, mind you. He runs the entire city. He's the mayor. This guy with his flag hanging and looking disheveled and dumb with a hat that's too little for him. Look, I'm gonna turn the sound on, but I'm gonna let it just play. Just look how doofus he looks. His hat not even on right. And listen. I'm not here to try to be too worried about looks, but this is unprofessional. Your hat don't fit, bro. Tighten the hat in the back. You didn't give a what you woke up looking like. And these are the leaders that people are electing. That says that you don't have to have you shouldn't have a gun It's not necessary for police officers to have a gun at traffic stops. Just imagine you pull a person over traffic and they got a person kidnapped at gunpoint. And you just so happen to pull over a guy that's kidnapping a kid and taking them across state lines, and you happen to pull them over because they're speeding. And they got a gun to a kid's head and they're going to kidnap him. The cop shouldn't have a gun? Then what he's going to do? Is he going to call 911? Come on, man. Quit being stupid. Cops should always have a right to defend themselves and other people. In that case, a person has a gun to a kid's head, taking them, or a woman's head or whatever, taking them hostage. You're not, the police officer's gun is not just to protect the police officer, it's to protect other citizens. The bad guy's just going to run amok. I swear, God is my witness. I can see them saying that cops should leave their gun in the car unless they need it. And they got to run back to the car to get the gun and something hit the fan. Like, listen, nobody trains a person to shoot a gun instead of a taser. That's not a part of the training. So there's no police reform that can happen that could fix what happened with this lady. There's a stress response that she didn't respond well to. And when you're stressed out, regardless of the reason, you do not make right decisions. You completely make mistakes. Her mind, I want people to understand her mind she wasn't in control of her mind at that point. She wasn't in control of her mind. Her stress put her on autopilot. And you are only as good as your last level of training when you go into fear, fight or flight mode to full panic. That's why when I was on the SWAT team and when I did tactical training, they would put you under so much stress that your stress response would default to great training. It won't default to, I don't know if I got a taser or a gun in my hand right now. That's pretty much what it is. And stress could cause you to see things that's not there, to omit things. It's not even your choice. Your brain will protect you and omit stuff that it feels that it doesn't need to know or that it could be a potential danger to you. We did drills. Let me take dummy off the screen. We used to do drills on a police department where we go to a house, we clear a house, they put a gun on a table, and they put a target in the back that you end up having an encounter and you shoot the target. Most people never saw the gun. They never saw the gun. They didn't see it. They looked right at the table and never saw the gun. And it's because when you're in a high-stress situation, your brain will omit things that's unimportant. It will omit you didn't see it. You did not see it. And so as your brain begins to omit things to focus you in on life-saving measures, you make mistakes. You shoot the wrong person. You have a sympathetic reflex where you pull the trigger when you meant to. If you're holding the trigger and you're holding your radio, trying to call the radio, you're going to pull both at the same time. It's called a sympathetic reflex. And when you're in high-stress situations, you're going to make crazy mistakes if you're not trained well. And we used to train, and if you miss that gun, you get smoked to death. And you never miss it again because then you're trained in high stress to be able to focus on everything in the room and still hit your target, life or death. Therefore, if a kid pops out of the closet, you can assess and say, no gun. Okay, adult with a gun. You can assess that. If somebody pops out from under the sheets, they don't have a gun. They have a gun. You can assess that without your mind omitting or adding certain things to protect your body. This is real. Like, people don't understand this, but when you talk about people say, man, it happened, I feel like it happened in slow motion. Like, it's because your brain sped up so rapidly that you were able to slow down and think and process through this life and death situation. That's what happens to the brain. It speeds up an ungodly ability to speed up. I say ungodly, uncanny ability to speed up so fast that you are able to make sound decisions and slow things down so you can survive. That's how methodical God was when he made us. And so that's why people, you feel that. You're like, oh, everything was going in slow motion. It's because your brain was protecting you so you can make these slow motion decisions. But you have to learn how to use that to your advantage when you are in stressful situations. And that's not easily trained without tons of money and tons of research and tons of availability to do so. Some baseball players have that ability to create that stress in the mind where it feels fight or flight, so they slow down and they can see the baseball. And they hit it. And you wonder, like, how are they so smooth on the baseball? They figured out a way to have their brain kind of slow it down. They can diagnose it and hit it. You think I'm lying? There's researchers that came in. People came in and taught us on the SWAT team about the whole brain and how it all works and stuff like that. So anyway, I love you guys. I thought I'd just make a quick video just criticizing this guy. The guy said in a press conference that he don't think police officers should necessarily carry a gun on traffic stops. So anyway, don't be this guy. Make sure your flag is straight, you idiot, and make sure you have a proper hat and at least put a tie on if you're the city manager or you're the mayor of the city. Anyway, I love you guys, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the Officer Tatum store. Thank you for supporting Tatum Report. Tatum Report is huge. I'm really going to make an ask for donations at some point. We're going to do giveaways. We really need to raise money so we can solidify all of our writers. And we are redoing the website. We already have it redone in the background. I just have to make one approval before it goes live. So we're doing a lot of work, man. I had to do a lot of stuff to get myself to this point. A lot of financial obligations that I had to take on my own in order to make this thing work. In this new renovation of the Tatum Report. So if at any point you see this, if you can donate $5 or something to Tatum Report, it'd be a tremendous help. We need to raise money to get these writers. We hired 2 writers yesterday. I got 2 more that I have to interview today. And we got many more that we're hiring, and it'll just be wonderful if you want to support Tatum Report and just $1, whatever you want to give. Just give, hit the donate button on Tatum Report. But anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.